That does sound like something that they would shoehorn in. It's like Natasha snuck out and then literally just blamed everyone else for being alone.
Yeah, it was literally like...
she's just like, hey, I'm just gonna go get some coffee. Does anyone want it? And they're just like, yeah, I'll have fun. Yeah, okay. And then smash cut to her, obviously in a hoodie and a cap and a baseball cap, and she's just like, I'm on my own. I got no one to trust. It's just like, no, you left. So, we're talking all the first series of Marvel Disney Plus TV shows.
Yeah, is it phase 1 in itself?
I want to say it is the Disney Plus TV shows phase 1. We got WandaVision, Loki,
Falcon, Winter Soldier.
I keep saying Captain America and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Every time I keep thinking about what we're doing. I know it's not wrong. They say it at the end. And What If?
Yeah.
But
because I don't think there are any series for a while. Hawkeye is soon, isn't it?
November.
So is that going to be phase 1 as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so there might be another part.
We'll get to that, but I feel like we should cover.
Don't want to be covering more. Yeah, we're already covering 4.
Yeah.
So this might be a part 1 and part 2 of phase 1 in Marvel.
I say we just. This is just going to be. I'm just going to put the titles of each as the title of this podcast.
Yeah.
And then we'll get around to Hawkeye when it releases.
Yeah. I'm
coming towards Christmas.
Well, but maybe even at the end, at the end of this, we'll talk a little bit about it. Maybe just
why not?
Our expectations of it.
I feel like this is a more relaxed podcast.
It's going to be a little bit more chill. Not as obviously normally we'll go through the film and break it up and then tangents and stuff. But this one I feel like it's going to be a bit more of an overall.
We're going to be talking about the overall of all of these, and we're going to be picking out bits we like, picking out bits we don't particularly like. And I think it's going to be slightly more upbeat than probably the last few podcasts that have been.
Well, I tried with the Bond one. I feel like I saved it a little bit.
So, starting with WandaVision, which was, I feel like that was in the pipeline for a long time.
Yeah, but no one saw what it was going to be. Even us.
Oh, yeah.
No one could have anticipated that. That was like... I feel like, so jumping a bit, I feel like the reason Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't do a little bit better is because it followed WandaVision. I do feel like they should have came out in the opposite order. WandaVision was just... There isn't another show like it, really. Like, it's a Marvel show with the elements of that kind of intrigue and stuff that, like, things like Twin Peaks and Twilight Zone kind of has.
The thing that got me about WandaVision, and I watched the documentary. So after all of these series released, each one had a behind the scenes the next week, didn't it?
Oh yeah, no, I never watched them actually.
They're actually as interesting.
Yeah, you said this. Yeah, it's something I keep meaning to watch.
The people who worked on WandaVision are people who have worked in sitcoms.
Oh wow!
So I mean, they went for that. Initially, in the series, they went for that tone, didn't they? Because they went through, the
50s, 60s.
They went through some very close to the material in terms of paying homage to. Initially, it was like Bewitched.
I would go beyond close to material. They made each episode was a show from that era.
Yeah,
like episode 1, just little thing. This is why it was so good. That's why I haven't got time for the people that are like, oh, the first 2 episodes are boring. It's like, but can you not just appreciate what they are? Like, it was 20. First of all, it was 20 minutes. So the episode length was based on the sitcom era it was based on.
They were 30 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, but it was dependent on what they were covering in the scene. So the first one was the length of what a 50s sitcom would be.
Yeah.
The 60s one was the length of that would have been. Obviously, as the story started to develop, I think they did start to lengthen it out and that. But the first one was it was almost plucked right out of the 50s. But I don't get when people are like they found it boring. I get it. A 50s sitcom wouldn't necessarily hit the mark right now, and the only ones that people do watch are the kind of nostalgia aspect of it. But it's not a 50s sitcom. We know it's not a 50s sitcom. We know who these characters are. They're referencing things that have happened in the Marvel universe, so we know it's not even in the 50s. But now suddenly, with no explanation, we've got Wanda and Vision in the 50s as like this 50s, like something like Bewitched or something, and we're like that alone, that intrigue in itself. I didn't need anything else. And then the nods were really good. When we talk about Easter eggs, this show is the pinnacle of what Easter eggs should be. There were things in the opening titles that were just there that you could easily miss. But I've never watched anything so intensely in my life. Because I didn't watch the making ofs, but every episode I had to go on and watch. To mention someone else, what are the name? New Rockstar, is it? They're the ones that do the breakdowns. It's a YouTube guys that do a breakdown. It's New Rockstar or something like that. And I had to every episode go back and watch it broken down because I know I've missed things, and then they point things out.
I know who you mean.
Yeah,
I'm kind of finding those. Channels slightly annoying.
They've got annoying. They were perfect during WandaVision. I've not watched them for anything else.
Because now it's speculation for click's sake. Because with Disney Plus, whether it be Marvel or whether it be Star Wars or even anything really, you could go back to like Stranger Things and stuff like that. Whether it's just there will be a wrap up of the episode, which I like. But then the speculation YouTube videos, they've just gotten under my skin because I'm just like, all of it's just too much. Like I used to like it because obviously I'm kind of invested. I'm a fan of the cinematic universe and stuff. But now it's just too much. I can't because it raises people's expectations too high.
Yeah. And problem is as well, I think it's even been proven from Game of Thrones that as soon as it's almost every time a theory is guessed, there's the risk that it will change the story. So we could be robbing the better story because the show decided. Because I think Game of Thrones
I don't think it would change anything. Let's go back to the last episode when we talked about James Bond. They're too far into production for when they start the series. Because someone said something online, they're going to change it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's
Game of Thrones was different.
You know how productions are made, Sam. It's not. They aren't made like 2 weeks beforehand.
No, sorry, I'm not talking about WandaVision thing. I mean more ones with multiple series like Game of Thrones.
Right.
It's generally speculated that some things about a later series, that some storylines didn't pan out the way we were going to because someone predicted it, so they changed it.
I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that's really what happens.
Okay, fair one.
But the main director, I think he's a showrunner as well, Mark Shackman. He has also done Ugly Betty.
Okay.
Also, Brothers and Sisters. He's also directed episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Incredible. Okay, that makes sense.
So and
I
loads
like Ugly
of
Betty. Ugly Betty was done very well for what it was.
Loads of credits, and he also starred as an actor in what was he in?
The name does sound familiar.
So I'm going to cut this.
Is it like a 90s one, like Roseanne or something?
Growing Pains.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's old. That's like before us.
Yeah, it started in the 80s. So yeah. Growing Pains.
I feel like that's the one we didn't really have much exposure to be honest. I've seen a lot of American references to it, but we didn't necessarily have the...
He was a child actor in it.
Oh, fair one.
Playing...
So the guy literally, his life has been sitcom.
JR. Graham JR.
That's an entire life in sitcom.
That is.
Yeah, he's going to be good at it. Yeah, they just nailed it. It was just every. I remember being like as I say, I've never watched anything more intently in my life, because once you've watched a couple of those breakdowns, as I say, well, the good thing about those videos is they break down the bits you missed. So I didn't, not as much the speculation bit, but the bit where it's like, this was in it, look at this, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know what that was, and I even discovered some things about Marvel I didn't know, and characters and things like that. But yeah, like it was just I remember just what I knew I had to put time aside to watch it. There was no way I was going to be able to be doing something else and watching it, because as soon as I think a couple of times I looked away for a second, someone talked to me, and I've had to rewind it and I still realised I missed something. It was so good, and it was eerie, like, especially that first couple of episodes. It was like, you know these characters, you know who they are, and as I said, they're talking about events that have happened, so we know it's not the 50s, it's not an alternate universe. He's dead.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, what the fuck, and what's going on? And that bit where the husband's choking, and there's little subtle things going on in that scene. It's just little tweaks like that. And then every week you're like, right, oh, and then obviously by episode 3, you know, it jumps a decade every time. And it's like, oh, what sitcom they're going to do? And when they got to the 90s, which is, that's the one I was probably like looking forward to the most, because obviously that was my first introduction to sitcom. It's like, are they going to go Fresh Prince? Are they going to go like, I don't know what other sitcoms were there, like the kids sort of ones in there, and they just plucked the perfect one and went Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle is
genius.
It was filled with these references, but at no point were you just like, it's getting too much.
No, it was absolutely a homage.
Maybe because you'd get quite nostalgic for.
Yeah, it was obviously an element of nostalgia to it.
I mean, if you were born in the 80s, I'm sure that the 80s sitcom is probably where you were like enjoying it the most, when it was just still prior to the kind of like nearer the finale, where it was it's just it felt like a Marvel film.
Yeah.
So it transitioned,
but so
very well.
Yeah, there wasn't a jump. It was just suddenly going that way, like. And the Naughties one was good too, with Modern Family, kind of like way to go. That was a good choice. I feel like they chose, so the 50s was, I say it was with regards to sitcom. I know it's got maybe a typical 50s sitcom, but it felt a bit more like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. That kind of, it had that where it was a sitcom with the supernatural element to it. And they did very much, their dynamic kind of reminded me a little bit of those ones, which I'm familiar with. So there was an element of nostalgia there. 60s did something similar, but and yeah, each one I feel like they chose a good. They didn't just go, look, all of 50s sitcoms, all of the 60s. They kind of went, no, let's pick a route, let's pick a show almost, the kind of like that was very. A good representation of sitcom in those eras, and they did it perfectly. And then the side story as well, as soon as they started bringing in outside the bubble, the hexagon, wasn't it, or something like that. It was brilliant. And stand by it, I mean, my top 2 side guys anyway were in it, but Darcy, 100% the best. What would we call them? Side characters, companion characters?
Yeah. Companions.
I'd say companions, right? Like, yeah. Darcy's the best one, but Jimmy is very, very short behind. And those two, were just brilliant. I really liked Monica's character. I think she's really good. That was a good introduction. The villain was kind of good. It was just a frustrating soldier again. It's that sort of thing. Well, he was one villain.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was someone else all along. Who we thought was the villain, but then someone else. That reveal as well. Like, the thing about that reveal, and it was because of those videos. I don't think without those videos I would have seen it coming. But because of those videos of people speculating about who she was, it shouldn't have been as much of a surprise as it was. But the reveal was it was so good that I feel like I reacted in a more surprised manner. Like, it was such a positive reaction to it. It wasn't like, oh, I saw that coming. It was kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because of how they did it. And it was, I loved it. It was so good. They played it so well. There's those eerie moments where it was like people were like breaking through and like having like and you didn't know. Wanda didn't seem to know it was her, but it was kind of like it was her. And then the people, when they broke through, were like having breakdowns, are literally in agony. But then they switched back to just really, it was so eerie. It was a bit Twilight Zone sort of thing like that.
Very much so.
Black Mirror, almost an element, sort of like, yeah, it was pretty, it kind of played on that kind of like how creepy the sitcom world can be.
Oh yeah.
To an extent, like this perfect world, it is kind of like there must be something dark behind it.
I mean, if you think about it, canned laughter is kind of creepy.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you realise that canned laughter. There's a few that like, it's a recording that's from a long time ago. So then you have to understand that probably the majority of the people that you're listening to laugh are dead.
Yeah. Oh
so
wow.
That's
creepy. That is creepy in itself.
Mm.
I was thinking more as well, like even the live audience laughter, they're being told when to laugh.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of falseness to that, and that's got an area of it that I didn't even think about that. Yeah, canned laughter. You've just recorded some.
They just, and it's the same tracks from like years and years ago.
Yeah.
You don't really need to re-record canned laughter.
No.
So if you think that like, the initial probably recordings, unless updated, were probably in the 50s when original sitcoms were just recording audience reaction to sitcoms of the time.
Yeah.
So majority of those people are probably dead.
That's yeah. There is something about sitcoms. Obviously, as sitcoms go on less and less. So Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, there's not so much creepiness to them because they do like to focus a bit more on the real. But those early sitcoms where it was like everything was perfect and like, oh, what's happening this week? That's silly moo.
Yeah,
I feel like, yeah, there is an eeriness to it, and they captured that perfect. It was such a good idea for what they wanted to execute. So like I feel like the idea of having an eerie, I feel like the original pitch was, right, we're doing a thing with Wanda and Vision, maybe not the character we've chosen, but we want to do a Marvel show that's just gonna kind of freak people out a little bit. What have you got? And then there were a few things pitched, and someone was just like, what about sitcom? And it might have stemmed from early sitcom, and it'd be like, yeah, that is kind of creepy. And we just don't explain it, we just throw them into a 50s sitcom, and everything's normal, but they're completely aware of their lives before, but we're not going to tell anyone anything that's going on. We're going to have a sitcom set up, clips at the end will literally like never been more relevant ever. That extra clip that's usually in the movie played into the story this end, like that one where you realise the person puts the pen down and stuff like that. Turns out it was just Darcy, but in the first episode it's really kind of like sinister, but it was actually just Darcy watching it and she puts it down, you find later on. So even the sinister stuff as it's revealed, and it kind of like slowly transitions more into maybe a bit more of an action, a bit more of a Marvel. Yeah, it was good. And the woman who plays Agatha's, I think she's a fantastic actress anyway. Yeah, she's always brilliant. I don't know how she hasn't played that kind of villain before. She's done it that well.
She's really good. I feel the thing that's come out very, very recently, I think this week, is that they are thinking about doing a WandaVision spin-off with her.
Yeah,
and I'm a little bit like I'm enjoying the Marvel TV shows as they are.
Yeah,
and we've obviously got like quite a few coming up as well. I don't think everyone needs their own spin-off.
No, I feel like
they've picked pretty well.
I feel like she needs to kind of serve her Loki time first.
Right.
Well, I mean that he's got his own show, but at the same time, before that, he wasn't the main character. He was very much a prominent character in everything he's in, but we got bits of him, and he didn't have to compromise his character until he got his own show. He didn't compromise it, but like we didn't have to see much character development until he got it. And I feel like
we saw lots of character development. He was just in other movies, and obviously movies where it made sense. Thor.
He was still very low-key all the way through it.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when you give someone a focus of a show, like which was proven with Loki, and it wasn't a bad thing. There's when I say character, I mean
No,
there was very much
what I think you
he
mean
became
is
the hero.
I think you mean just that they changed the character dramatically.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
More so than compromising. I feel like
Oh no,
if you're going to give him a show,
Yeah.
even I was at first, I was like, they're going to turn Loki into the hero.
Yeah.
But I was just intrigued as to how they would make that make sense.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel they did that quite well as well. I feel like Agatha, we need to see fewer more appearances of her before she starts getting her own stuff. I'd like to see her appear.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Like I feel like it was a bit of a.
I don't need to see her in a series other than something that's to do with what's come before. So say if she was to re-emerge in another, could be a film as well, like if she reappears in any subsequent films like Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, we're in the age of magic now, so it kind of makes sense. But
I'm not really because there's a fine line between good quality and just like bombarding you with every character.
It's kind of over fan service sort of thing.
Ultimately over fan service. And I just don't think it would have even happened.
Oh, they like him or like her.
Yeah, I don't think it would have happened if she hadn't got like memed as much and got as good as a response. Yeah, I mean, she was fantastic. Like, she was absolutely brilliant. She played the character really well. That's not detracting anything from what she's done. No, it's more like if for some reason the general populace was like, she was alright, yeah, she was good, but there would be no consideration for a TV show.
I don't think her character warrants her own thing. I feel like it would be better as an appearance.
Unless something quite drastic is going to happen. But then I'd feel it's just too soon.
Yeah, too soon. I was going to say she needs to serve. She needs a few more appearances.
We're only in the first year of Disney having TV shows of Marvel,
and they're doing spin-offs.
And I don't want them to. I want them to focus on characters that we haven't seen in the films that kind of probably don't warrant a film.
Yeah, so which is what they're doing perfectly. Like they've done Hawkeye,
but then she doesn't warrant even a TV show. No, so she's been in it.
We've got Hawkeye, we want to see more Rhodey. We've got Armor Wars, which is so like there's already stuff in the works. Why are you looking at spin-offs? There's so much more else you can do in the meantime.
You don't really want spin-offs of
and if you're going to have a spin-off show, you have a detective show with Darcy and Jimmy.
True.
No, but so with that one, obviously because they have been doing so well with their TV shows, I'm going to flip the cautiously optimistic, and I'm skeptically optimistic.
Right.
It's a bit different. So I'm kind of like, I have faith in them, and I'm sure they wouldn't do it unless they knew what they were doing. But it does. My initial impression is, okay, maybe not. But yeah, but sorry, in the context of WandaVision, brilliant. I feel like the casting was, but I feel like they cast her on purpose because she can do what she needed to do as the villain and stuff like that. But we don't suspect her to an extent. I do think a lot without those telling us without the intricate fans' theories being able to be spread. I don't think as many people would have caught on it was her. I think we would have just thought she was just this. We know the actress. She's getting the FaceTime. Like she's the kind of like almost a more tragic story. So that was kind of like it was a good reveal. Vision is. I've never liked the character more. I kind of do want that personality to carry on with Vision now. He's not because I like Vision. I do like Vision as a character anyway. But he was either a bit too soppy or a bit too robotic. This was funny. He was funny and quirky and stuff because obviously he wasn't real. So he was being what she made him to be.
Paul Bettany got to play a lot more varied a role as Vision than he could possibly have done in the films.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the setting and there being the
context,
the magical element of the way that the MCU is going from this point. I feel like it was a good chance for him to be Vision, but then be Vision in another way.
So Vision is the personality made up of Ultron and Jarvis. Vision in WandaVision is Ultron, Jarvis, and Dick Van Dyke.
Literally, yeah.
That's what I did really enjoy him. I thought it was good. It's so good. I do hope that does carry over. And honestly, his like tease about the I love how he played the media with his tease of like getting to act with he kept it. I'm going to get into act with someone I've wanted to act with for years, and just the theories just exploded. And it was him. He got to act with himself.
Genuinely,
that was the whole thing. I thought that was, and it wasn't like that's disappointing. It was like brilliant.
Yep, he took that. He took it into his own hands to kind of
amazing
twist the brains of like anyone who like the others, like these YouTube videos where they're all speculative. It was thrown out there that it could have been anyone.
Yeah,
Fassbender,
Keanu Reeves, because it's just people are convinced Keanu Reeves is going to be Mephisto or just Ghost Rider or something.
Convinced that everyone who they could possibly want was going to be in this.
Yeah.
And then he just flips it on his head.
Which is pretty much what's going on with Spider-Man, I'm just going to say, by the way.
I mean, the one thing that was the biggest disappointment was the Ralph Boner, obviously.
Yes. That was a bit, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean,
I like what they did initially. So I like what I like what they did to an extent. So it was very much like they did a bit what they did in the story, what Paul Bettany did with real life. They went,
this was whole hog trolling, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it landed at all. Like,
oh no,
Evan Peters being in it, because I know he has said that when he was meeting with Kevin Feige, he was basically told like the role is kind of in flux. They don't know whether they're gonna do serious, like, it is actually Quicksilver from the other universe, and then it quickly changed to like, no, you're gonna be another character, but we are casting you because you were Quicksilver in the other universe with Fox, and he's just like, and it'll like get people speculating and wondering, and I was just like, but then you literally called the character Ralph Boner.
Oh, they fucked it. I feel like it was going perfectly until that point.
Genuinely,
because it was a brilliant idea. Absolutely. We know that the title, by this point, before WandaVision came out, we know the title of the next big Doctor Strange is Multiverse of Madness. So we know that in some capacity, Marvel was doing a multiverse.
Yeah.
So obviously people automatically think that means that old films become canon and stuff like that. I don't think that's the case.
No, I don't think it would.
Even with this free Spider-Man thing, I don't think it's going to be all three. I don't think they're in it. I know you do. I don't.
They're in it.
That's our biggest dispute at the moment. December's going to be very interesting. But then, so it was absolutely brilliant. You have him turn up at the door, especially when you first see the back of him. You're like, oh crap! Is what's his face? Aaron. What's the guy who plays Quicksilver in Marvel called?
Oh, is it Aaron Johnson?
Aaron Johnson. So it generally kind of looked like him from the back. You're like, oh my god, they found a way to bring Pietro back. Brilliant, because everyone since Ultron has been like, why did they kill Pietro? He was fantastic. So, and then it turns out it's the other guy who plays Quicksilver, and people were literally losing their minds. They were like, oh my god, multiverse. Because I think by this point, again, Disney had bought Fox. So X-Men,
I was completely knee deep in the theories, you know, because this came out in January, and they've had 4 TV shows come out since. And I'd say right at the beginning, I was definitely one of those people who was, like we said before, watching those theory videos and prediction videos, and I just needed to know. I just needed to know, and then I think it was probably after this show that my use of the prediction YouTube videos, or like going to watch them after each episode, just kind of waned away. Because I think next after this was Falcon and Winter Soldier. And with that one, because it's quite grounded, I didn't really need to. There wasn't the want to.
WandaVision was very much, and this is why they can't do another series. It was built on intrigue and mystery. That's the point of it. That's why we watched it. It was so intriguing. Falcon Winter Soldier wasn't supposed to be that. Falcon Winter Soldier was an action, almost like an homage to the action hero TV show, drama, something like that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it felt like, not to, again, really try and compare it to more TV shows.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like The Avengers meets 24?
Yeah.
Closest thing.
Yeah, I think something like that. That is that level of TV drama.
Yeah.
Where it's not like drama. It's very much action and explosions, but like on a TV level.
But then it's got to have
Marvel budget.
Yeah.
And that opening scene where he's flying and stuff, that was straight out of a Marvel movie. I was so from the off that you could not flaw the effects.
They just looked like straight out of the cinema.
Were straight out. They put the time in. I feel like that's why it was 6 episodes as well. Like,
see, but one thing, a slight tangent. Watching that and seeing that the Marvel TV shows got the same budget and the same exact feel is why I was quite disappointed at one particular scene in The Mandalorian season 2. Not to spoil, so spoilers for The Mandalorian if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But you know when Luke Skywalker appears at the end. That is, and I've recently rewatched Rogue One.
Yeah. Oh, with Leia,
and I'm like the
Tarkin,
facial de-aging, or like actually putting someone else's face on another person's body.
Tarkin,
You know, I won't call it a deep fake because it's a little bit more intricate than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they just don't compare. Like the Rogue One effects are infinitely better than the deep fake in Mandalorian. And I mean, I feel like I really want them to just re-edit that scene.
I feel like, to be honest, they might do, because one thing they
they hired the guy who did a better deep fake.
They've listened to the fans. They've listened to the guy who done a better deep fake of it, and they've hired him. So yeah, but they don't need to do a deep fake.
Yeah,
Not really. No. All they need to do is
you know,
Sebastian Stan used to just play Luke, and then they edit his face just a tiny bit.
Yeah, well, Mark Hamill's always Luke's guy.
I do. I'm so glad he got to play Luke.
Yeah.
So, but I do wish it had been a better deep fake.
Anyway, I'm just a little bit disappointed that the Mandalorian season 2 didn't quite get the same oomph in budget enough for them to do a really good use of special effects. So much so that it's indistinguishable from the films, which is what Marvel have done.
Yeah, they did it. They did nail that, because even though, as I was saying, I know Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't as received as well as the others, and there wasn't much hype behind them, and people do count it as probably I don't want to say the worst, but their least favourite. I personally loved it, but because it felt like an extension of Winter Soldier.
Right.
But I'm also aware, in hindsight, at the time I was really enjoying it, because it was all the characters on Winter Soldier, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is what I wanted to see. But even in my own reflection, I've kind of gone, actually, I kind of wish they'd done that. Like Little Girl from Norwich is never going to be a scary villain. Yeah,
we're going to get to that in a bit. But what's the best thing about WandaVision?
Best thing about WandaVision, the intrigue and the way it makes you pay attention. I've never felt that. I can't think of a single show like it. It's so unique, and it was so compelling. That's it. It was so compelling that like nothing else. Like there's no category you can put it into. It's its own thing. That's what's best about it.
I think there are films in the MCU that have a different feel to a superhero movie, whatever you kind of consider that parameter to be. But this, I feel like, was the biggest and the furthest that they could be away from the cliche of superheroes.
Absolutely.
Even though it's got 2 of the main superheroes in it.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
So I think you're right. It is the biggest and the best thing about it. The thing it had going for it, WandaVision, was intrigue.
Intrigue.
First, Disney Plus Marvel TV show. I think they kicked it off well.
Incredibly, yeah.
For them to do something so different was to them probably saying these TV shows will be different,
Yeah,
but you'll still get the same quality and you'll get the same effects, and it'll feel like it's cohesive.
absolutely. It feels like it's part of the same universe, yeah.
Because the one thing, which was probably my main concern, but not like a huge concern, because once you've seen a few trailers, you could kind of get the feeling that that they have gone all in, and it wouldn't be disjointed. But the main fear for me was like it would just not mesh well.
Yeah,
because it is still inside the MCU, as the end kind of glues it into the next phase.
yeah.
And
Well, this is the end of this phase, I guess.
yeah, end of this phase. Well, because
we've said as well now, it's set us up with the hope that we now have this media or this format where you can set things up and introduce people and characters and stuff in the series to the point where the movie's now an event.
yeah.
So you're not having to do as much spend as much time in the movie developing and like introducing anyone. You introduce them in these series where you've got a bit more time, build on them in there, and then almost not every movie, but most movies can now be Endgame and Infinity War, where it's like you've done your build, and here's your event. And
I feel like
I'm up for that.
I feel like Multiverse of Madness might be something similar to what you just described. It will have elements from the TV shows.
Yeah.
Not everything. You don't have to squeeze everything in, and it does have to be its own thing.
And it does almost feel that, particularly WandaVision and Loki, and even What If to an extent, are very much setting us up for that movie. They are leading to that movie. We're saying at the moment we're not really with the movies coming out. We don't not really sure where they're leading.
I feel like it'll be
these TV shows are leading that way.
I feel like it'll be a 2-part in terms of where it's leading. I feel like it'll be Far From Home, and it'll be Multiverse of Madness.
I think so, yeah.
Because they are the biggest ones that are coming out next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're incredible. I think absolutely right. I even think Eternals is going to feed into it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So the next show was like we just touched upon was Falcon and Winter Soldier. It took me a lot of effort just then not to call it Captain America and Winter Soldier,
which is, to be fair, season 2 onwards is going to be.
Yeah,
and this one I would welcome another series as well, because
I don't think there is, because they're going to do another Captain America.
Oh, so that's the point as well, isn't it? This one was supposed to almost set up the Captain America movie. But even if it did, I can see it having the format of it. WandaVision, you can't have a season 2. Doesn't work. Just wouldn't work at all. But this one I could, because of the format of it. It's easier. It's an easier watch. It's not as intense and stuff like that. It's action and stuff like that, but it's easier to watch, and kind of like the way it plays out. But the characters in it, I did enjoy it. I did really enjoy it. It's just I do appreciate when people say it wasn't as good as it could have been. I get it. I do understand that.
Also,
I do have a few qualms with it as well.
Yeah. The thing that gets me is that they didn't say. No, I'm going to change that a little bit. So they kind of shoehorned in the fact that there's now another super soldier serum.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it doesn't change what you look like.
They perfected the serum that couldn't even be recreated.
Yeah. So much so that, again, if it was anyone, but what they have done is they've chosen a small ginger redhead girl.
From Norwich. I don't think, do you know what? The ginger, the little girl kind of thing, aspect to it, I feel like that could have worked. It's the Norwich accent. God. And we've had this conversation. Hertfordshire, which is where we live, and Norwich,
I'd say
just not.
No, I'd say anywhere that's home counties and and like Midlands.
Yeah, yeah.
those accents, they do not translate well to screen.
They just don't land. There's
don't
nothing
land.
behind them. This is our accent
I know.
that we're talking about. We listen.
If it's on telly and it's supposed to be a big American production,
Yeah, it doesn't
no
work.
matter what that be, and in this case, it's a Disney Plus TV show that's going out across the world.
Yeah.
I can't help but cringe.
It's just cringe. It just doesn't. It's just too. I mean, I love that with these smaller that we're not just Cockney or posh anymore. I love that, and I love with or just Northern. That the world is aware that we have more than 2-3 accents.
Yeah,
but sometimes it's just like, oh no, for that character.
It's painful for the ears.
It just
So here's the thing: I don't particularly rate the actress. I don't think she was very good in Solo. Yeah, no. I didn't think it worked at all.
I don't think it's her ability. I think she's being cast wrong.
No, she's very wooden.
But I can see her right at home in something like Teachers, or even like maybe a younger version in Skins or something like that, or Misfits, something where it's like a TV Channel 4 kind of drama, that sort of thing. I can see her in that.
Yeah,
I can see her in that. Maybe even like a British Law and Order appearing in there or something. I can see her as that. She's just not. And I hate that it's kind of like we're like, oh, some people just can't cut for Hollywood, but it is a bit like, oh, there's nothing for these roles she's playing. It's not really working. But yeah, it's a shame. I don't discredit her as an actress. I just feel like she's not fitting the role she's in. I don't believe she is what she is in the movies. I think that's the best way to put it, in it. So like in this, I don't believe that she's this leader of this freedom fighter group. And to be honest, one of my biggest problems with the thing isn't even her. It's this whole, her right-hand man keeps questioning her on these things. Because they're supposed to be, in their eyes, they're the good guys.
Yeah.
She keeps doing these really awful things. Then doing a speech about how she's not the bad guy. And I've just watched you let a load of like guards that really independently didn't do anything. They're just part of this system you don't like. Burned to death. Your right-hand man questioned it and went, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? And then 2 minutes later it was like, doing whatever you say. I'm like, if I have a problem with something, the way someone's doing something,
especially
I'll speak up
something
anyway.
that murders
if someone's
people.
actually killing people, and I'm like, I don't just go, oh, okay. If I'm concerned enough that I'm speaking up, I'm not going to be easily as dismissed as, look, this is just what we do, and I kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess so, yeah, because like Brad, why didn't you tell her not to kill those people? I did, and she kind of like just raised her voice a bit, so I'm like, are you fucking serious?
It's their logic is so fucking flawed. It's unreal.
Yeah, it was a bit that I didn't really like that, and I keep saying it as well. And we've mentioned this actually. We've actually talked about this in the Black Widow one. I like the Sharon Carter development, but I feel like we got there the wrong way because I'm sorry, Sam wouldn't have forgotten about her, but Cap. And it might be maybe putting too much faith in Cap, but the whole point of Cap is that you've put faith in him.
Yeah.
Cap would not have forgotten her.
Yeah.
Not just because this is the first woman he's even had feelings for since Peggy. Not because she's Peggy's freaking niece, so he feels a connection to her. Not because she put her career on the line to literally break him out and get him his shield back and stuff. No, not any of that. Just because... Cap still remembers that waitress from Avengers, Ashley Johnson. Fantastic. Yep. She's in the critical role.
Ellie.
Fantastic. She's also a blind spot, she. But yeah. But he won't forget her. He'll have seen that interview and he'll remember her because because he's Captain America and that's what he is. He would not have left her behind, especially in a situation again. Not only like. He's in a situation where he needs all the allies he gets. She obviously was in a situation where she kind of like burnt some bridges. She absolutely would have joined them. That would have been her in to become an Avenger. But this whole, oh, you forgot about me, so I went dark. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't have done it. You've undone your own characters briefly, for a storyline, and I don't. The storyline's fine. The means doesn't justify in the end, but the end is okay. We're there now. I don't hate that she's bad. I just don't like how they got there.
I think you meant to say we covered this in Shang-Chi, because it seemed like his sister goes dark, quote unquote. Doesn't she?
No, yeah, we did it in Shang-Chi. No, in Black Widow, where we were mentioning about how in a very similar fashion, we needed something. Cap wouldn't have let her go off on her own. She's got very much got the attitude of I'm on my own now.
Yeah. Yes.
Got we're like, no, because you were with Cap. You would have had to sneak out and leave him.
Yeah.
Or you would have had to convince him this is the best thing.
That does sound like something that they would shoehorn in. It's like Natasha snuck out and then literally just blamed everyone else for being alone.
Yeah, it was literally like...
she's just like, hey, I'm just gonna go get some coffee. Does anyone want it? And they're just like, yeah, I'll have fun. Yeah, okay. And then smash cut to her, obviously in a hoodie and a cap and a baseball cap, and she's just like, I'm on my own. I got no one to trust. It's just like, no, you left.
But no, yeah. So that's where it kind of feel. I don't like that. But and to be honest, where I say about with WandaVision, the Agatha thing, even though we kind of saw it coming, still felt like a reveal. Her being Power Broker wasn't a reveal.
No,
it was like no. It was very much. But I do like there are some. As I say, they're probably my biggest qualms, to be honest. Those little bits. Most of it, I enjoyed watching it. Zemo, absolutely fantastic. Zemo's almost new Loki.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah, like kind of. He's like.
He's not evil.
No,
we realise now that he's not actually evil.
Well, he is evil.
He's bad.
He's bad, yeah.
But he's not evil. He thinks he's doing good. Evil doesn't think they're doing good.
There's a lot of that going around, but Zemo is definitely.
And he won't kill innocents.
I mean, he did at the UN building in Civil War. Dad, so. Yeah. Zemo is the street level Loki.
Yeah. Fantastic character. The actor's fantastic.
Yeah, mate.
Fantastic. I played so well. I love the little bits in it. The bit in the plane where Sam and Zemo are trying to explain the Marvin Gaye album. So a brilliant callback anyway. But where Bucky's kind of like, I heard it was all right. That kind of, because he's going through Cap's book, isn't he?
Yeah,
it was okay and stuff like that. And like Sam's outraged that because obviously Cap would love it. But then Zemo comes up with this brilliant argument of why it's such a good thing. It's like I think he's something along the lines of like it captures the culture of the time, something like that. And he's like, this guy gets it. And he's like, I love that moment. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. I think Bucky was done well because of course he's going to be broody.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a broody character.
I mean, he spent a few films brooding, so I think we'd had enough of that now.
Yeah. They didn't break the character. They can't go, oh shit, we made him pretty broody for a while. How do we come out of it? They didn't just suddenly switch him to this upbeat. He was still absolutely still a broody character, but he wasn't that archetype of broody. There was a character there. The banter between him and him, I think, were brilliant. Oh, best thing to come out of Winter Soldier, possibly. Other than a spot-on Captain America costume from the comic. I was quite impressed by that. They literally, you see the picture in the comic and everything, brilliant. Still not sure on the red visors, but I didn't like it in the comic. But that's fine. That's just my personal preference. That was brilliant. The line in the film where it's the big three. You know, they mentioned the big three. Is it aliens, androids, and wizards?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's incredible. And then even the line it leads into there, where it's like, and it says it makes a Gandalf reference or a Lord of the Rings reference. And he's like, oh, you know Lord of the Rings? He was like, I was there when it came out. That kind of, I was like, yes, shut up. I love it. I did like all that. That was very, very good. Very good.
I can see what they were trying to do with the overall show. Kind of transitioning from Endgame to Sam Wilson being Captain America.
Yeah. Oh, because this was probably the first one that gave us a look at the world since the blip.
Yeah.
Because even Spider-Man didn't properly.
No.
Um,
Well, it had little bits.
WandaVision gave us a little bit.
Yeah.
Thingy gave us a little bit. But this gave us very much the world as it is now, and it gave us a touch of what's going on behind the scenes of the quality and stuff. So I thought that was a very good aspect to it.
I just feel that I feel like this could have even been maybe like 4 episodes.
Yeah. I think so.
I feel like the end where Sam is talking to a politician, nameless politician, at the end where he like saves them from that building. And
yes.
then it's at the very end. He's just, he's trying to justify the case of the girl and the I can't remember what they're called.
I can't remember her name. Was that Teresa or something?
She's Carly Morgenthau.
See, there you go.
But I can't remember what exactly I can't remember what their name is. But yeah, he's trying to kind of say that what she's saying isn't wrong, but the way she's gone about it is wrong.
Yeah. 100%, yeah, which was absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it was a very much a case of like the impression they've got, or the message, or the movement was for the right reason. It was just completely the wrong means. Absolutely, yeah. No, that was very much a case of thing. So it was believable that people. Oh,
actually, I do remember what the freedom fighters were called. They were called flag smashers, and that is the single worst name for a terrorist group.
Terrifying. It didn't even match.
Not that like terrorist groups should be like marketable.
I know, but in a movie,
terrible.
No, but that doesn't even match. It didn't even match their brand. Their whole thing was a hand.
Yeah,
like on a black mask. Those were wicked. The masks with the red hand and stuff. When they first came into it, I was like, okay, okay. And then it's like flag smashers. I'm like, okay.
They got their uniforms all good. They were just like, we're gonna have the black mask, red hands. Don't know why they weren't just called the red hand.
The red hand.
I mean, or the red hands, the red masks.
Iron Fist isn't canon anymore. I don't think. Just call them that. They could be the hand.
Yeah,
they could have been another play on the hand.
So, but yeah, they decided to go with flag smashers, and that's a terrible name. See, I'm leaning towards this being good.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
I'm not there. I'm minus
quite.
A question mark. I'm good. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. But.
I feel like it was just too.
But I do very much understand why you're saying
too many inconsistencies in certain characters. Not really Falcon and Winter Soldier, but mainly just everything that was going on around them.
Yeah. Like going back to you saying the 4 episodes thing. I don't think it was. I feel like there was a place for Sam and his sister, but I don't think it needed to be as big of a story as it was.
Yeah,
it didn't need a focus. It very much could have been a sidebar thing like that. Because that scene where they're doing up the boat and stuff like that, even that, I feel like had a place in it because it fitted into the overall story. But I just don't think that part of the story needed to be as reverent as it was.
What did you think about the introduction of John Walker?
I like the introduction of John Walker. I thought it was... I very much left that last episode like, what the fuck? It gave my initial impression of him was, oh shit. I feel like the character had a brilliant arc because he did. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy, absolutely a good guy.
Again, going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, and he's also Captain America is the representation of not just America, but he is the representation of idealism. He is idealism. He is what we all want to be. What America sort of sees itself as, but what we know we want to be. John Walker is more of a representation of what it actually is.
Yeah. I agree.
It was so well done. The guy who plays him's brilliant. The arc, as I said, the character arc was fantastic. I get why he went so bad. He's literally the way he lost his Bucky. He kind of went through the same trials,
but at breakneck speed.
Yeah, at breakneck speed. Obviously, they had to cover a lot. But so we got to see that it was, and all it does really as well, the existence of John Walker just celebrates Steve Rogers even more. So Steve Rogers got a highlight and a celebration without even being in the movie. And I liked that because it was very much like it's not his experience that got him to who he is. It was, and very much going back to what the scientist says, he picked him because it's him.
Yeah.
And it's about the man.
See, I think they were. I feel like one of the plot holes was that they assigned a Captain America without even trying to give him some sort of boost. Some sort of. I thought, yeah, but the whole time that they were trying to market him this is inside the series.
Yeah.
Trying to market him as Captain America. He is just genuinely a guy who, if he got shot, he's dead.
He's just a soldier. Well,
yeah. You say just a soldier, but I'm just like, he hasn't got any powers, and you are basically setting a man up to be a target.
Yeah.
Who genuinely would just die.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like that was a bit of a weird one. I feel like they probably should have from the beginning. Introduce the serum.
Yeah, I feel like,
and probably say that the US Army or the US government has like a finite amount that they've recouped. I
believe that,
and then that they've literally got like these two, or just like they've got like one. They've literally just got one left.
Yeah. So
do you know what I mean?
Like, it was. Yeah, I would have believed that hands down.
All you would have to have said is say another shield agent or like someone, you could even just like mention someone from the comics was able to dig up this information on the guy who eventually we see has made more of this, and they were able to recover one vial.
They tormented and tortured and studied Isaiah for years. Is it Isaiah?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
for years.
True.
Just right in from that, we distilled some of his blood or some.
True.
Some of that
yeah.
Full science. I'd have been. Yeah. Okay.
It's a comic book TV series. Yeah. Like you can get to one place to another really easy. With,
I thought it was a bit bizarre that it was part of the story that he got the powers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
I feel like they could have had that as part of the show. Maybe he was a soldier who was like their mission was to go and find the scientists whose name I can't remember, who they do finally find, who was just happening to be perfecting the super soldier serum. That is a bit like, that's where I'm kind of like, they didn't do well enough with the story for me to, that's a bit of a leap, because we've been told that the super soldier serum is not recreatable.
No,
Hulk, if that is another word.
Hulk is a result of it. Abomination's a result of it.
And then for them in one of the TV shows, just like, we lied.
Even Bucky is supposed to be a misshot, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. But by the end of this, Bucky's now a super soldier.
Yeah.
Almost, it feels like. But it does feel like.
Do you know what I mean? Like work it a bit. Work it into the storyline a bit. Don't just say no. There's one guy who you've never met, and basically he made a perfect super soldier serum.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, and he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
And to be honest, he was quite a cool character, and they just killed him.
Yeah, and I'm just like, they needed to just kind of rework that a little bit.
Yeah,
and have John Walker be revealed to have what they could have done is revealed that John Walker is the new Captain America, and they're using the last serum that they have, and then it be revealed later that it is Isaiah's blood.
Yeah.
So it's literally like they've given the blood of like Black Captain America to like this new guy instead of celebrating. It would have opened so many complicated issues. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Which the show was trying to address.
Exactly.
It fitted in with what the show was trying to address.
And then, for it to then be at the end where Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, is now the new Captain America.
Well, I know it kind of counteracts what we just said because
Yeah.
he doesn't have powers.
Yeah.
But he's proven himself.
He's been a hero,
He's
like,
proven
you
himself.
know.
If Widow or Hawkeye took over as Captain America, they don't have powers, but we're like, of course they would,
But because he's, you know, he is Falcon already.
Yeah.
John Walker, like we were saying, he was a soldier before. He wasn't like a superhero.
He wasn't an event.
You know, there's kind of a little bit of a difference there.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I feel like that with a little bit of reworking, it could have been better.
It could have been better. There are weak points. This is why I'm saying I know it's not good because I liked what I liked and I didn't like what I didn't like. There's no bits in between where I'm like, oh, I kind of thought that was okay. No, I just either really liked that element, I really didn't like that. That kind of, it's very black and white in the bits I didn't like and the bits I did. And it is outweighed by the bits I did like. I did enjoy it, but the bits I didn't like, there's no like, oh, I don't know. I'm literally like, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
So there's no. That's why I don't have the question mark with me. It's very much, it was good, but not great. But it could have been great. Yeah, I agree. There's a few different tweaks there and stuff. And I know we were saying about like this whole like introduction. I like the introduction of Isaiah, and obviously what that sets up as well. We know who that is. Another potential young Avenger. That again feels like something where these things are setting up as another thing the series are so setting up. Young Avengers is coming. Dark Avengers seems to be coming. So
it was little breadcrumbs of the seeds of the stories were you know
and I like
starting to be sown.
Introduction of Madam Hydra, she was cool. I liked her. She was better in this than she was at the end of Widow.
Oh, a lot better.
But I love that actress though. She's fantastic. I'm so glad to see her again in terms of like doing that sort of role. But so like I feel like so okay then on the same note, what was the best thing about Winter Soldier?
Best thing about Winter Soldier was
what sort of thing when you think about it's not good, it's like that was good.
I mean the dynamic between Bucky and Sam is always good.
Yeah, but their arc in this though, the inclusion of an arc included in it, I think.
Do you know what? I think the best thing for me was seeing what it's like for the two characters to deal with events post Endgame.
Yeah,
they deal with it very differently.
Yeah.
And obviously, like the whole premise was, it's like, well, it's the odd couple, you know, like they always are. But yeah, I feel like just for them going from still kind of, they're acceptant of each other, but then they're still quite hostile.
Yeah.
So then, you know, both of them kind of realize they just need to, you know, just kind of move past it, and you know, they're still on the same team. You know what I mean?
And they're going through the same thing.
Yeah,
no one's gonna want. No one. I know he had close friends, and I feel like Natasha would be included, but she's dead anyway. but no one else understands that loss as much as the other one.
Yeah,
they're the two that would understand. They're the two probably going through it. I don't say the worst because he lost is different, but they, if anyone was going to get it, it's the other one.
Yeah,
they get it.
I feel like they were both kind of a little bit lost, and
I know I know the whole thing is Bucky and Steve.
Yeah,
but I do feel like Sam pretty much like earned his stripes as best friend as well. He was I think it was as much for a loss for him as it was for Bucky. Yeah,
so the best thing was just the two of them, really. You know, I know they're the title characters, and there's probably sometimes that's, you know, sometimes other people kind of steal the show where you're like, oh, the best thing about this was actually not even the main characters, it was this. But for Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was just the two main characters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the antagonists was a letdown.
Yeah.
John Walker was good, also a good setup for the character, because you do just hate him.
Yeah,
but then you are also like, he's better at the means are bad, but the drive is righteous.
Yeah,
more so than Kylie Morgenthau's
100%.
Character.
Yeah,
you know, there was just bits where when she, sorry, I'm really sorry, but she's not just believable as the head of a terrorist organization.
No, not at all.
It doesn't. It's not. It's not actually anything to do with any of the factors. It's just
a delivery.
It's just the delivery.
Execution of it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I agree. And it was very much the same impression from Solo.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I think my favorite is very much. I agree with what you've just said. The title characters are pillars in it, but there were some sub characters, and I do think this one's done it. I wouldn't say the best, but to a very high quality. The psychiatrist, brilliant addition, sort of thing to it. I liked her. John Walker was good. Madam Hydra, even Sharon Carter. As I said, I don't agree with how they got there, but I do like her character arc, how it's gone. Zemo, I feel like their supporting roles were good. There was some really good ones that I'm looking forward to see, like, come into it.
Again, Zemo is probably, I'd say, second best for me. His addition, it's like Three's Company.
Yeah,
exactly, he's just like he's pissing them off, but he's also kind of helping them. And,
it's my favorite.
Daniel Bruhl is
in those sort of shows, and when he had those things in the like in the 90s and noughties or whatever. Whenever you have them, I love it when the villain is forced to work with the. Yeah. It's it just opens up for such a cool...
If it makes sense, for the story.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that the terrible 2004 film Alien vs Predator, where the Predator and the human team up. That's where it gets too much. But where it's actual like characters, and, they've got a common goal.
It works,
and because it's not done all the time, but it's not a huge cliche.
No,
it's a trope. It's not a huge cliche.
Yeah,
but it just works in this situation.
Yeah, I do.
When you work it into the story well, then it's fine.
That's what I'll say. The dialogue. I think that's one of its strongest parts.
Oh yeah,
the dialogue was 100%. Yeah, every bit of dialogue was it. Just that's my.
Not every bit of dialogue. Every bit of dialogue between the main three, I think. Yeah. Maybe.
Or not even some of the stuff. To be honest, even Carly's dialogue is okay. It's just the delivery. Put it on someone else, and it would have been a bit better.
I don't agree. Like, some of it's ropey because that's the main reason why.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons why it doesn't work. One is her delivery, and two is the flaws in her logic. And her actions, not meeting the drive.
The inconsistency of her level of psychoticness.
So I don't agree.
So okay, the majority of the dialogue, I don't know. That is my favorite thing. Yeah, the when the dialogue was at its peak, it was some of the best dialogue.
It was good.
Between the right characters, and then that leads kind of nicely into the next one, which is Loki.
Loki is my favourite of all four of the shows. I feel like it's the most ambitious, especially what happens in the end.
Yeah. Well, they did say it was going to have the most impact on the rest of the MCU, and it very much did.
It very much did, and
I feel like it gets more credit for a bit. What I'm saying, what we were just saying about Winter Soldier and Falcon, it could have gone very wrong.
Oh yeah.
Like when I found out about it, I'm like, okay, Loki main hero. It means he's gonna go good. Is that gonna work? Is that gonna completely undo the character? And it didn't. It was they picked the best Loki. So we got someone pointed this out to me the other day, and it's brilliant. I think it was Harry. We got to see the same sort of like story arc, but in a different way.
Right.
So he still went from selfish, wannabe king to dealing with his issues and and growing. The same way he kind of does by the time of by Infinity War before he gets killed. Doesn't undo that death. Loki died, like 100%. Loki died. They didn't bring him back from the dead. But we got to see him do that again, but in a completely different way. And I think they executed that brilliantly.
It was a very grand scale TV show that basically boiled down to the relationship between three people.
Yeah.
between Loki, Sylvie,
Yeah.
and Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
So,
What's his name?
is it Mobius?
Mobius.
Mobius B. Mobius is his actual name, I think.
Yeah, loved that character.
So
Owen
yeah,
Wilson as well. Like, he could just show up and just do, like, he's a bit one of the. I don't feel like he plays the same character, but he has Owen Wilson tropes.
yeah, I understand.
And
So they're all very close to just being Owen Wilson, but they are different
they're all
characters.
yeah. And they are. I suppose I would say the same about Ryan Reynolds for that. But yeah, like, he's just so good, and you just want to watch him do what he does. And like, and he brought a brilliant role to it. And for a guy that does predominantly funny as well and sarcastic, he can switch the drama on when he needs to.
Yeah, I feel like he had his key moments.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, the majority of the time he is being Mobius B. Mobius.
Yeah.
AKA Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
But then, you know, there are some points in there where he kind of slows the tone down, and, you know, he gets a bit serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when introduced to Loki, who this particular variant is just out of the scene in Endgame.
Yeah.
So it's just after the Battle of New York, so still in 2012.
But really just out of Avengers.
Yeah.
The scene which it's a scene in Endgame.
Yep.
But it's actually the time period is Avengers.
Oh yeah.
He's still very much a villain.
Yeah. And he switches back to the Loki of old.
Yeah.
Very well does Tom Hiddleston, because he's been through a lot since then.
Yeah.
On the timeline. So, but you know, again, it's just interesting. You know, this is slightly in the vein of WandaVision, where it's more a mystery when it starts off.
Yeah,
there's obviously lots of things that don't get answered, but you know, you're introduced to the TVA, which, you know,
which is still a little bit of a mystery.
Still a little bit of a mystery, especially after what happens at the end of the series.
I don't feel like the TVA is a mystery, because I feel like we know what that is.
But where is it?
Where is it?
That's the mystery.
And what's her face? That little fucking clock. There's something more to her.
Yeah.
That they're not letting on, and I know that because they haven't told us what she is.
Yeah.
And if there wasn't more to it, they would have told us what she is. But she very much serves, by the sounds of it, whoever the Kang of the time is.
Yeah.
But does she?
Does she?
Or is she the constant? It's very But I love that. I love also though that they didn't just be like, right, okay, we're going to do the story again. They showed him the story.
Yes.
They showed what happened to him. They showed those moments that you wanted Loki to experience, like the bit where he's in the lift with his brother. I love that's one of my favorite scenes between Thor and Loki. That whole like, I'm sucker for sibling and father like that, but siblings. When he's at the whole like, you're my brother, I loved you. I thought we were gonna conquer the world together, and I always saw you as an equal, but it was never going to work out that way. That acceptance of Thor is so sad, but revelationary as I don't know, whatever the word would be. At the same time, it's just it's brilliant, and I love that now alive Loki is able to see that. He saw it from our eyes as well.
Yeah.
So he probably took those moments on.
I thought that was a bit weird. I always find that a bit weird when, say, they're showing someone CCTV or footage from something, and it's just in the cinematic way that we've been shown it. I find that odd in TV shows, but it kind of works here.
It does, yeah. It's I like he's seen it from the audience perspective. So he's not watching himself; he's watching another guy. It might look like him and it's him, but it is a variant. It's a different guy. But I liked that. Yeah, that was. But yeah, it was. As I say, I feel WandaVision is still my number one, but Loki is a very close second. It could have gone very differently, and it just had a brilliant pace to it. they did do the intriguing, compelling bit, but they didn't drag it on too long.
There's a lot of cat and mouse in the early bits.
Yeah.
This first 2 episodes, I'd say. And,
But then they don't let that run to. It was just everything was perfectly timed.
if everything just felt right, I think.
Yeah. Sylvie was a brilliant reveal.
Yeah. Again, this going back to a topic we seem to circle back to too much, and the internet thinking that Sylvie was going to replace Loki.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When I'm seeing stuff like that, I'm like, she's just going to be a female version of Loki.
And even
it's in the comics.
She's not even a female version of Loki. She is a variant of him.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's a different character.
Yeah.
It's a very different character.
Well, they've gone through different experiences, and that's kind of what makes the characters.
Exactly,
so,
yeah, exactly.
Or makes a character. So, they are different. But yeah, she was great, I think.
Brilliant, yeah. So well done. She's a great actress.
I want to see more of them, and I want to see more of her in the MCU. So
you've done a good job when you do a very confusing but successful incest. Like, is that incest?
No. Well, it's if you're the same person,
it's weird,
you're of no relation to yourself.
Yeah.
I just broke it in a sentence.
It's a weird one.
I just broke everyone's theory in one sentence.
It is a weird one. I don't think. Yeah, I was gonna say I knew it was an incest, but you are right. Yeah, exactly. That's very true.
They're different people, and you're of no relation to yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Fucking weird.
It's weird.
Not gonna say it's not fucking weird.
But also, do you know what? If he's gonna fall in love with anyone,
it's
so on brand that it's with himself. Yeah. And I know they acknowledge it in the thing, but it is literally on brand. Of course, if he's gonna fall in love with anyone, it'll be himself. But they somehow made a beautiful story out of narcissism, and that's genius in itself.
And I'm surprised that Disney let it slide. I'm just like,
they look like. Yeah.
I feel like this one, because it's confusing. It slipped through the cracks.
It did. I feel like it did.
Disney will not allow you to do anything.
Yeah,
that's deemed risque.
But yeah, it definitely falls into the realms of taboo, but not quite.
But you're just questioning it. You're just like, I can't put my finger on it. Exactly. It's just weird. And I think that's how it's kind of been perceived, and is how it got past, the lawyers at Disney
radar.
But yeah, a great character, and when it gets down to the last 3 episodes, Richard E. Grant as quote unquote classic Loki.
Yeah,
good inclusion.
Yeah,
I'm more of a Gator Loki fan.
I'm a big fan of old Loki.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan, and do you know what? Brilliantly cast.
Exactly.
Absolutely fantastic. But I love that. Do you know the best thing is when he tells his story, and it's that because you don't realize you see old Loki, and there's a whole episode pretty much plays out before you even hear the story, and it's not till he tells the story, or for me anyway, I kind of went, oh shit, yeah, that shouldn't be a thing. Tom Hiddleston should be as old as he gets, because he's in a way, his destiny is to be killed by Thanos. That's the whole point, regardless of who he is. So this is that Loki, very much that parallel storyline, but he lived old. How did that happen? And it's as soon as he told us, I'm like, that's so good in itself. And then all it came down to, the reason he's there and the reason he got discovered, he stepped one foot outside of hiding because he missed his brother. Brilliant. Again, gets me right here every time. I love that.
Yeah, that was a good step. I mean, because it all does reflect on Loki as a character, even though it didn't happen to Tom Hiddleston himself. It happened to a variant of his character.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they're taking these steps into making Loki a hero rather than a villain.
And all of what's quite good as well is
this helps soften the blow.
Without even being in it, all of the relevant all of the characters of the Thor movies and stuff like that, from Thor, I know Sif's in it, that sort of thing like that. They're all very much part of the story still, so they're not in it, but they are the part of this they play indirectly into the story, and it is, I do love that. And that bit in the, is it episode 1 or 2, where Mobius gets that confession out of him about why he does what he does. It wasn't like I feel like it was, it was a tool to get him to where they needed him to be. Because they're like, right, okay, he's the hero, he's not the hero, we need to get him to be in, we need to know what. And it was a bit of like a TV psychology moment, but it was done so well, it doesn't matter. It was just that whole reveal, you're like, I mean, yeah, that explains it. That, because one of my biggest qualms about Loki as a character, and not because I don't count it as poor writing, it's why I dislike, it's a dislike I have for the character, the way I do a person, which, if anything, that's a good writing. If you're reacting to fictional characters you would to people, that's good. I hate this chip on his shoulder because it's completely unwarranted.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be unwarranted. It's literally written in a way that it's unwarranted. They make sure that you know it's not. And it really, really fucks me off whenever he's referencing, like, you always favoured him and I wasn't even your son, really. And every other moment just proves that otherwise. Thor never outshone him. Thor never included him. Thor never overshadowed him. He was just, it's very much a selfish guy reading it how he wants to. And that will be, but that moment where he explains it, you're kind of like, okay, I've got a little bit of an idea of I get it now. It's not, you don't hate Thor, you don't hate Odin, you hate you. It's a brilliant moment. And there's loads of little bits like that. This is very much so WandaVision is intrigue and mystery. Winter Soldier, that's kind of action and message, very much a strong message to it, executed well. It wasn't overdone, but this one is very, very psychological. There's a strong psychological element to it, and exploring the psyche of what, like, this kind of like these characters and this character. I like it. I do like that.
The TVA, when meeting a variant or when going to a timeline that is branching off, you assume are deleting that universe up until a point.
Yeah.
But it turns out that they're actually sending it to the end of time.
Yeah, where there's a big monster that eats it. Which
I kind of thought was maybe a bit cop-out-ish.
Yeah.
Because for them to be like, oh no, they weren't just like killing everyone, they were sending them to the end of the world.
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, okay.
And
they call it pruning.
And they also, pruning. I quite liked that. It's also this. This is where it gets a bit. This is probably the part of it where it's the most TV show. You know, where Smallville or someone does that. They've got this undefeatable thing, but they need to get to the end so it becomes defeatable. That monster.
Yeah.
Where it was like, he's before the beginning of time.
Yeah.
All variants of things have come through there, and it's never been an issue. And then they were kind of able to. I mean, I know the idea is he's low key, and it's supposed to.
They were able to like trick it and kill it.
It's supposed to be a testament to him as opposed to a negative against the monster. But it was just a bit too easy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very much the whole time when she's like, I think I can feel it, and I know how they showed us doing it. I'll be like, yeah, but you're not sure. Like, you shouldn't. From even what I saw, we know you're not sure enough that you're gonna try this.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
I think that was probably one of the only things where I was just a little bit like you said, it was a bit too TV show.
Yeah.
You know, where it was just like that is a formula where it's just like, I don't think we can defeat this undefeatable monster, but if we do it together.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, at no point did a variant of any any super being come through and think, yeah, we're going to do the same thing.
There was did the four Lokis.
Yeah, well, there was loads of Lokis there in the first place.
So many potential like band names there, but they were as a collection, or even there like President Loki and all that. There was like 6 of them, wasn't there? Something like that.
Yeah,
they didn't. They're also. I know they're supposed to be somewhere a bit cheesy, and they fight and they're a bit like kind of played off as stupid. But at the end of the day, they're all Loki. So they're not stupid. They're all very, very clever. None of the others worked out that maybe if we worked together, and it was that. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
Seems a bit. It seems a bit like, oh, they're the ones who defeated the undefeatable monster. I'm like, I know it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be an epic thing.
Yeah.
And I was okay about it, but I was just like, no one tried this before. Yeah, no,
yeah.
Fair enough. But getting to that point was just interesting. You know, it was just like there were just some things where you're kind of following a thread, and you know they're doing the whole thing. The TVA are therefore kind of like investigating variants and branches of the timeline, which it's like revealed in the show is like kind of controlled or just like overseen by the TVA. So everything that's happened has happened not for a reason, but due to some person's plan.
Vision. It's
you know,
someone. There's one vision for it. Yeah.
So the TVA was headed by. Was it by 3 overseers?
Initially, yeah.
Which turn out to be MacGuffins.
Absolute MacGuffins.
So, sorry, I think they turn out to be red herrings. I think that's
red
more
herring
likely.
probably better off. Yeah.
Because they were just not real.
They were just animatronic, yeah.
So then at that point, which was, I mean, it was probably about. I feel that was just over halfway through the series. That was.
It was long enough as well that you kind of went, "Oh shit, they're not the villains."
Yeah.
Like they were the villains enough that I very much like they were the villains.
Because it was built up. It was built up like, oh, because you haven't seen them, you were like, oh, maybe they aren't real. And then when they go in the chamber, and you're like, oh, they are real. And then they pull an good old switcheroo, and then they're still not real. They are not real.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, you got there, but we faked you, we pump faked you. You know?
Yeah. I kind of liked that. Yeah, that was good. I felt played in the right way.
Yeah, and I mean,
and even Jonas, even the death when he gets killed, part of me was like, oh, maybe they are handing the reins over to. Maybe this show is going to be about
that. Was the only point where I was like, "Oh no, the internet was right."
Point, I was kind of okay.
My worst fear has come to light.
I don't know, but at that point, I was okay with it. If it was the idea that it was I'm very much for bold writing. So to have people get excited about a Loki show, give him a Loki show based around Loki, and then kill him 2 episodes before the end, and it's actually Sylvie's going to be Loki in the Loki show because she is Loki. I'd have been like, oh, okay, I'm up for that.
Yeah, I would have been. I would have been a bit. I would have been a bit. Well, just at any point, I would have been skeptical that they kill him off.
Yeah.
You know, but it came. I think it was So there was 2 episodes to go, and they killed him off.
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, wow, but then I thought to myself that there will be an explanation, and it turns out there was.
I mean, I still think they should have not put that
reveal that he's still alive
scene until the next week.
Oh, 100%.
I would have spent a week at least
sweating it,
potentially like, oh shit, maybe they have killed him.
I would have just been there the whole time, just like,
because I was sitting right there like, oh shit, what?
Insert that meme of Narcos, the actor who plays Pablo Escobar, you know, where he's just like waiting. He's like on a swing set and he's just sitting there and he's just like, you know, like just like standing, not knowing what to do. Or the Kermit the Frog one where he's just, you know, like looking out onto like a view with his hand on his hips. He's just like, I don't know what to do with myself. That would have been me for a week.
Because there was, until that point, there was no hints or clues that pruning wasn't permanent.
Yeah, I know, right?
It was literally like
there might have been a few hints, but not like enough for you to be like, oh, if someone gets pruned, they're definitely not dead.
Yeah,
like, you know.
It was like you're pruned.
There'd been a maybe like a line of dialogue here, like that's like, well, there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what that was.
Yeah.
But I feel like the pruned Loki reveal should have waited a week. You're right.
Yeah, I thought it could have been good, that intro.
But then, like the scene where
they will show up,
where they
is brilliant.
Where you see the other Lokis in the end of the world, you know.
Yeah, it is great, and
it's a good scene,
and the shot is so memeable.
Yeah, it
the
is,
album cover thing, I love that. I love that. So they were. So as I said, what's the clock called?
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. She's weird. She's like there's something else going on there. Red Hunter, is it Red Hunter? What is her name?
Who?
The Mobius's mate in the head of the TVA. What's she called? Something
Ravonna.
Hunter? Yeah, but she's called something, isn't she? They give her a nickname. But yeah, I think she's brilliant. I'm interested to see where her character's going because she's kind of she's going for the top, but we never saw her go for the top. They pretty much gave her an exit where it's like, what are you going to do? Cut the snake of the head of the snake off. But she never made it to that point. She wasn't there. So what she's doing, she's obviously on a journey.
She's
somewhere.
off grid, isn't she?
Yeah, she's on a journey somewhere. I liked that. I did like that. The whole coming back now, and then can't go about mentioning Kang. That guy,
He Who Remains,
fucking nailed it.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't wait to see. He's so good, and although we know that one's dead, he was so good. It's now like, okay, how's he going to play alternative Kang?
Yeah. Because he's going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania.
Yeah.
Which the fan theories, going back to watching fan theory videos on YouTube, the overall consensus is that the TVA and everything that's gone on in the Loki series is inside the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Which you see in both Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, more so in the Wasp, innit? Yeah.
So, I kind of subscribe to that. I think that'd be a good idea.
I think so. It makes sense.
With the lines, things work a little differently down here.
And even as I say, if not there, but I think it's actually the same thing anyway. Whatever this stuff.
It would make sense for
Doctor
him
Strange
to
passes through, but I'm pretty sure a lot of that there's crossover between those scenes in the quantum verse and what Doctor Strange is going through.
And it would just make sense for him if he's turning up, or he's going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, it would just make sense that if that was the case.
Yeah.
For him to show up in both of these.
One of the things I'm looking forward to see, does he still, because I know it's going to be as charismatic, and I know it's always going to be as likable, but I don't think it's going to be the same.
Oh, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be closer to the comic version where he's a big bad.
Yeah. Oh, but, no, it's absolutely bad. I think it is definitely a bad one.
Yeah, but in this, he was like.
He wasn't. This one wasn't bad. I don't think the first guy was bad.
This one was more like.
Grey?
No, his character was.
He was very much a great good.
Was like a bit quizzical.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
just like overly mysterious, bit quizzical, bit like, a bit realist, because he obviously gave Sylvie and Loki the choice.
Yeah.
Where they take over from his job of keeping these timelines in check and keeping other Kangs at bay.
Yeah.
I
like that as well.
And keeping the multiverse kind of together.
I love there's a sort of personal stake. It's not just, I discovered this place and realised my responsibility and now I'm 100%. I love that it's actually, no, it fell apart.
Yeah.
And it's actually, you don't know that because I made sure you don't.
Yeah.
But it's already, or not even like, sometimes, where it's like the greater good about the thing that's never happened and probably not likely to, but they're just skeptical about it.
Yeah.
This is like, no, it happened.
He's not being preemptive. He's saying, if you don't do it, this will happen. He's like, this happened.
This will happen.
Yeah.
I know it will. I've seen it happen. I've managed to stop it and pull it back. But hey, if you want to undo it, just make sure I'm not here for it.
I'm surprised that they went for Kang's actual backstory. Him being a scientist from 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
The only reason being is because it's a very comic book. It's a very comic book origin. Some comic book origins don't translate well to screen, so they change it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a little bit, or like
Well,
bits here
most
and
of
there.
most of the
This is pretty spot on, and that's from the limited knowledge that I have of the character.
yeah.
So, and I was just surprised because
And even
it is a bit. It can seem a bit like cheesy. He's just like, oh, I'm a scientist from the year 3000. When you put it on paper,
it's
kind of
ridiculous,
cheesy.
but it works.
Yeah, but when you have the actor
context.
and you know how it played out in that episode, I think it did pretty well.
I think it was very well executed.
It could have been very different, and people just be like, well, I have no interest in this character.
Yeah, no, it didn't do that at all. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, in that scene with the two, we saw some brilliant dynamic between Loki and Sylvie and exchanges of thoughts, and like we feel like they've come together finally, but actually no, they very much are still very different roads. We don't really know what happened to him, so he might not even be dead. That version, he might be a prisoner or something like that. But we know that somehow, and it looks like a new Kang has taken over.
Oh yeah.
But because of the way things work out, thousands of years has gone by the time he gets back to the area that's affected. Because for all that to happen, they would have had to start coming through again, all come through, had the war, and then someone had to win again. Because that's it's very much like that's why they don't know who he is. So by the time he gets to the TVA,
I feel like the reason why they don't know him is because he stepped into a different universe,
but
where he never came in.
Does the TVA have another universe?
That's the question.
Yeah.
I feel it's but the reason why I say that is because it's just reminiscent of the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes ending.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, doesn't make any sense because Mark Wahlberg goes to the future. If he goes to the future, it would not change the past. So let's just leave that there because there's no sequel. There's not going to be a sequel to that film to clear it up, but there is going to be a sequel to Loki to clear up this shenanigans. So I feel like it's that more than
it's so subtly heartbreaking too.
Yeah, because Mobius doesn't know who he is.
But they don't even address it.
They just think he's just another worker.
Yeah, it's literally just.
But that must mean that Mobius doesn't know who Loki is at all.
No. Oh shit.
Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't know because he'd recognise him.
He doesn't even have that.
Doesn't even know who Loki is. It's not that he didn't meet him. It's the fact that he doesn't even know who he is at all.
But Loki does. If they'd both forgotten it, we almost would have been nice.
I feel like the next series will be dealing with what's happened, probably post Multiverse of Madness, because it's not coming out for a few years.
Yeah.
So I mean, Multiverse of Madness is out in March.
World is,
so
yeah.
You know, so it'll be dealing with the consequences of that film and maybe Ant-Man and Quantum Mania, because I think that'll be a bit then gone as well.
And we still is how Sylvie and Kang's fate is still a mystery. So
that's what I mean. I feel like it'll be dealing with all of that. So obviously I can't wait, but you know, unfortunately they announced it. It's not going to be until like 2024 or something.
You say unfortunately though. That's fine.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's good to take your time with it. Don't just try and change the stuff. There's enough fillers. There's nothing coming out in between. It'll be cool. Between that and Star Wars, Disney Plus, we're good.
So it'll be tying up those loose ends, I feel, and then obviously telling a new story.
Raising more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will be a mix of Loki trying to get back to his universe, or something that resembles his universe, where where Mobius knows who he is. Maybe he's able to get back to the real universe. I guess Earth 199999999999.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's going to be very much a story between either it's going to be him trying to find Sylvie or him trying to figure out what the fuck's where he is and who that Kang is. I think it's going to be a bit of that.
Bit of both. Bit of column A, bit of column B.
A bit of all of it.
Yeah.
Bit of bad, bit of good. A little bit of both.
Talking about a little bit of bad and a little bit good. What if?
What if? Very much. I enjoyed it. Oh, sorry, no. What's the best thing about Loki? Just not to break.
The introduction. Them going. Very left field with the final episode.
Yeah.
And it being such a big step in the MCU, in regards to the whole universe, and them not doing it in a film. That and Sylvie. And a sprinkle of Mobius be Mobius. I hope he gets that jet ski.
I really do, but I don't ever want to see it.
Right.
I feel like it would ruin
What's
it.
the worst thing about Loki?
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
No.
that does work, because the best thing I would agree with the having that thing in the movie as aspect to it. The worst thing about it is possibly, that is a tough one. It sort of applies and sort of ties into What If quite well. The Infinity Stones thing. I feel like it was just like
that.
I feel like it's just literally like the director following went, "Oh, you're fucking little Infinity Stones. Yeah, well, what about this?"
No, so I agree with you. I think that this is the what we'll probably call the Ralph Boner moment, which is basically like you've got something really good, and then you just drop in something that's just like rubbish, not funny, and then like takes the piss out of like continuity or something. You know, like so the Ralph Boner moment for Loki was having the Infinity Stones just be basically like they say they're paperweights, and they're like I guess it ties into the things don't work. Things work differently down here angle.
So maybe there's no power to them. Yeah.
So I understand that, but you could go about it a different way.
Yeah, it was just at the end of the day, it's still a stone that travels you through space.
Yeah.
One that can literally control time.
Yeah.
The thing you're dealing with.
And they've just got like loads of them sitting about.
So maybe the whole like maybe they don't work. Maybe they are powerless there. That would be a bit more. But I'm just like, no, that's probably the worst.
Do it differently again. Even with
the reason it ties perfectly into What If is, and it does the way What If ends. It's just shown that the Infinity Stones and the multiverse are almost directly entwined.
That's why I think that the TVA is in the quantum realm where they don't work.
Yeah.
Because that's the only place where they wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because What If has told you that they work everywhere. Else,
I know they're all different. They explain that it's like the frequency's different and stuff like that. But like,
I think that's a bit of a cop out.
It very much is. Yeah. Oh yeah, where they try to get, and it's like you didn't work because it's the wrong universe. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's a fucking grinding machine.
It literally is just, it's just a
Why is there a frequency?
it's just a stone MacGuffin where it just stone crushing MacGuffin where
just
it's
grind shit.
Yeah, that was a bit of a cop out because it felt like they anyway to get too far ahead of ourselves. I know we're not going through the whole thing of What If, but What If was something that I was excited about, obviously. Yeah. That when it came around, I just kind of was like, meh.
Well, I was so.
But then towards the end, I was like, I really like it.
The bits I was excited about delivered because soon as I heard Captain Carter, I was like, okay, I like that.
It was a strong episode to start off with.
Brilliant episode to start off with. Yeah.
And then I just feel like
her gear works better.
Some of the middle episodes were just a bit malaise for me. They were just a bit boring. Well, not boring, but they were just a bit meh.
I was intrigued, but I was never entirely bothered about the zombie episode, and it was okay.
I feel like the zombie episode was just a setup for when they are used in the final episode as a weapon.
Yeah, it just dropped on it, sort of thing like that. Yeah, there was some good. Again, it was very good parts to it. Interesting plots. They've explored the world very well. I did not like the whole homage to this whole. It's very much a thing at the moment. We're like, hey, welcome to the apocalypse, and then Peter Parker's the guy who does it. Who does like Zombieland does it well. Zombieland does it well. There's actually a kids show that's kind of like the day the monsters. It's some weird thing where it's very like monsters take over the earth, and it's kind of that reminiscent of it. Very much felt like hey, welcome to the apocalypse. Here's the rules.
It's just like it's basically just like vlogging at the end of the world.
Yeah,
there's a lot of. I know there's a lot of that.
There's a nice moment that references it where the wasp was like, "How do you stay positive?" and so get some brilliant kind of like that could play into any of our impression of that Peter Parker. Yeah. Where he's like lost so much, you're like, yeah, okay, no, I get it. That's why he's so upbeat. But we know that about Spider-Man anyway. But yeah, it was just this whole like, yeah, I just
I mean, they're carrying that on, that motif from is it sorry, Far From Home. He starts doing that, doesn't he? Because he's already been, it's exactly the same setup as when he's vlogging about being in Germany.
yeah.
That's the
yeah.
beginning of Homecoming, isn't it?
The problem with it as well is, and I don't care, and I know who the Spider-Man is. If I do feel like he should have been broken, not optimistic,
Yeah,
because May,
I feel like
just because of May. Tony, he was already probably like Rocky anyway, but May, the whole point of Spider-Man is like, I've said it to you before, a good Spider-Man actor or voice actor by the way they scream May, or sometimes Mary Jane, but the way the gut curdling, you can feel when May's in danger.
right.
That kind of thing. They do it in the guy in the 90s cartoon is very good at it. The guy who does the video games very good at it. I feel like Tobey Maguire has a bit of a moment of it. That the way when something's happened to May, the way that gut curling scream they do, it's like this guy's Peter Parker. It's one of my like key things, and I just the fact he was just sort of like he references her and doesn't have too much of a breakdown. That kind of like was a bit. I was a bit nah.
Yeah, as much as Peter Parker's a superhero, I wouldn't say he's one of the most, like mentally strong people.
No,
He'd be able to take the end of the world as kind of just like another adventure.
Yeah.
Kind of another dealing with like another supervillain.
Yeah.
Instead of like Doc Ock, it's just zombies.
And this is in the same episode where we find out Vision, the robot, does the darkest thing of anyone.
He does. Yeah, he's kind of like he's kind of like not the villain, but like
no, he's just that. Yeah, he's that
just,
character in the apocalypse.
But he's done something that's like probably logical to a robot in terms of programming.
It's a
it's
robot,
heartless.
A robot that's fallen in love,
Yeah.
reacting logically to it, kind of thing. Because it's so arrogant in its logic that for it to want to do that must be what you do. But his turnaround is way too quick.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, they've already represented T'Challa as such a good speaker, whatever universe he's in, that he talked Thanos out of the his plan and turned him good. I'm sorry, on that table he wasn't having these conversations with. I don't even know what they said to him to make him turn good. I don't know what moment it was. He kind of went, "Oh no, what have I done?"
I don't think they show it, do they?
No, it's just he's just like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And he like does the whole like penance of it. And I'm like, "Oh, why is this? I don't know where this is coming from." But yeah, I decided I wasn't a big fan of the zombie episode sort of thing.
Yeah, So What If is obviously an interesting premise, and obviously coming from the comic books of just taking other ideas and just being like, you want to see what this is like if we change one or two aspects.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a strong start with the Captain Carter episode where Peggy gets the serum instead of Steve. It's good that Steve was in it, and I'm glad that again it's
weird he wasn't voiced by
you're looking into other multiverses, and I understand why they went the cartoon route, because they wanted to get everyone back. So
and I love the animation.
It's just the animation was really good.
Loved it.
The only thing that really kind of got me about the series was things that we know to be true about certain characters. They basically just ignored it. I can forgive it because it's a look into another universe, so it might be different.
It's What If,
but the bit that got me, the bit where I was just a little bit like, that's too much, but it was more just like, right, they've done this far too many times, is when in the One from Final episode, where which I actually like the overall arcing story and the finale.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good.
really good. Yeah,
Is where Ultron, which is now in Vision's body, but then he's got the suit of armor, so he still looks
James
like
Spader's
Ultron.
voice, though.
No, it wasn't. It
No,
wasn't
but
Spader.
He's James Spader. It's Ultron's voice. That's what I mean. That's what I like. It was,
Yeah.
He was very much playing James Spader.
Oh yeah, the guy who did
I
the
love
voice
that.
is trying to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Rather
that.
than it would be him, wouldn't it? Because it was
Yeah,
Ultron
it
that
was
got in,
Ultron.
not
I love
Jarvis.
that. I did love that.
But
yeah.
Is when Ultron, who has got the Infinity Stones, which is a cool concept in itself. You know, what if Ultron 1 is like something I would have liked to have actually seen in Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
But in this, basically, I think this is how he gets the Infinity Stones, doesn't he? Like he's won, and then years later, Thanos turns up on Earth.
Yeah.
And obviously, Earth has been decimated because Ultron won, and he literally just like as Thanos steps through the portal, he like splits him in half with his laser beam. And I was just like,
I'm pretty sure Vision tried that.
And I'm literally like, Thanos has all of the Infinity Stones.
And
like
before he kills him, that's exactly what Vision does to him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and it doesn't work.
No.
So yeah, that was
And again, it's Marvel.
Yeah.
It's superheroes.
Did you catch
It's
him off guard? No.
It's
Thanos.
it's a cartoon. For them to get from A to B, they have to take some liberties.
Yeah. I think they were going for a bit of a comical moment. As well,
but sometimes I was just like, just don't do it that way.
Yeah.
Again, it's like certain aspects of all the shows. It just if it was slightly different, I think it would have been better.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's certain episodes that were contained, kind of self-contained stories until the end, where it is an overarching story, even though it's built up of these what-if stories.
And because of the cartoon element, I feel they did have, particularly in some particular episodes,
Bit more free roam.
I liked the focus on the comedy. There was
Okay,
to it, which is very good. So like the Thor episode and the Star-Lord episode.
Yeah.
Star-Lord episode is my favourite one.
Is it? Yeah.
Like the heist one. Because I know it's a bit cheesy and I know it's a bit silly. And some of the things like, he just talked Thanos out of it. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. That's not why you're here, isn't it? You're not here to see how they would all deal with Thanos. That would get boring.
It was like, the way he did it, the way that the result we got from it was like, cool, okay, that's absolutely good. I really like that. The only thing I don't probably like Nebula's like blonde femme fatale hair. Like, why isn't it blue? We know it's blue.
I mean,
it's just so out of place, or red. But yeah, anyway. But I liked that. That is my favorite one. Then and that one, and then Captain Carter, and then Thor. But one of those is the only qualm I've got at the end.
Party only child Thor.
Oh,
I feel personally attacked.
Like
it just basically says that all
fucking you.
All only childs are assholes. I feel feeling personally attacked, if I'm being honest.
He drinks. It's you.
All right, okay.
You're not that much of a narcissistic arsehole.
No,
but
that was the premise of the episode.
But he drinks all the time. He party like it was you in those days.
That was how they marketed the episode as well. When I was on like Instagram or Facebook, and it was like you see clips of like the next episode. They do it where they explain the premise of the next episode using the TVA branch thing from Loki, which they didn't actually use in the show, which I thought was kind of cool. And then it was like what if Thor was an only child, and then they show like a clip where he's just being an absolute dickhead. I was just like, oh wow,
amazing,
fucking
but then
personal
Loki,
attack.
I love that Loki was in it, and there was a dynamic.
That was brilliant. That was a great episode actually.
That was a really funny one. I think most of the voice actors came back for that one as well. That was a really good one. My biggest problem with this one is tying into the finale is I understand why all the others were chosen. I don't know why he was there. He was there because he had an episode.
Yeah, innit?
This
Thor wasn't
I mean,
particularly good in.
they
He wasn't
tried-
like overly
He's definitely not the best.
heroic.
Like if you were choosing the heroes from all of
Yeah.
it, he's not the Thor you would choose.
No.
There was definitely so much better Thor.
I can
feel like there's a
understand.
really dark Thor out there that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But they went and they kind of try to explain it with the whole like, oh, what do I bring to the table? I warrant unwanted attention. You're like, oh, really?
No, so I feel like the Watcher. So in the actual show, I feel like the Watcher only chose them because he was able to. He'd recently just seen into those worlds, and they were the heroes of that world.
Yeah.
Or that universe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because why on earth would you pick Killmonger?
I understood why they picked Killmonger.
He's a villain.
Yeah, but
The Watcher was just like, yes,
Yeah, but that's
I'm
why-
going to make a team of guardians for the multiverse.
No,
I'll
no.
bring this murderer.
It was yeah, but to be fair, he's explained at the end. He wasn't trying to build a Guardians. He was trying to literally. Has an understanding where it's a bit like he can put the pieces in place and fall a certain way. He knows patterns, so he knows by introducing Killmonger. As he said, we were never supposed to beat him. We were supposed to just get the. He knew he would do that at the end.
Ah, okay.
I feel like the idea was that he knew that's just like he knew they needed Zemo. He was trying to
Yeah,
help
fair
them get
enough,
Zemo. I love that bit where he's stuck and he's trying to. He can't interfere, but he needs to interfere, but he can't interfere, and that's in the episode before, in the one where Ultron's introduced with Natasha and Clint, where they're going through all the files, and by this point, he knows that he's drawing it. It's that urgency of like, I can't break my oath, but oh my god, I need to break my oath for me to even have an oath in alive to have one. But no, they does explain it. The reason Killmonger is there is because he was supposed to cheat them all, and then to a point where him and Zemo would face off, or something.
Zola.
Some way, Zola,
Not Zemo.
not Zemo, Zola would face off. Have that kind of like that front off. So Strange could do what he needed to do. I think that.
Also,
I feel like him and Strange planned that the whole time. Oh no, Strange discovered it. It's Strange that discovered it.
In that scene where they're going through the files trying to find the information on Zola,
Yeah.
the just in front is Charles Xavier.
Didn't even know that. That is a perfect scene for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
whole
the
thing.
whole series is.
Yeah, they do. Again, these guys do it well. They
Mm.
don't. It's never. None of the Marvel series really underdid.
No,
Even
none
Loki,
of the
where
series.
it goes
Yeah.
down, even when it's going underground or something like that, and you see Frog Thor,
Yeah.
which is like a great callback. I think like,
Nice.
even
That's all you
bit
need.
underground.
Just little things.
Yeah, it's just so subtle. You only see it when you're going through.
Anyway,
But,
the talking about the overarching story is the Watcher, played by Jeffrey Wright, who's really good.
So good.
It's that that last two episodes, which kind of bring you into thinking that this is canon, or at least opening the door for it more to be an overall arcing story rather than just these individual episodes.
Yeah.
And I did like that. I thought they
like
were going to do it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know how. And then when they brought in Ultron and he wins and he's got the Infinity Stones and he can literally jump between universes.
Yeah.
Another Easter egg. One of the universes that when he's fighting the Watcher,
Yeah.
one of the universes they smash into is Star Wars, because they in the background you can see Mustafa from Avengers.
Shit. Okay, so they go full multiverse.
They go full multiverse
Which I mean, the comics do.
within the parameters of Disney
the,
properties.
The comics do because comics do because there's a in the Spider-Man cartoon there's a brilliant one where they come to this Earth and he meets Stan Lee, and Stan Lee meets these characters that he wrote, and it's that kind of like this idea that this world exists in their
even though they've created it.
Yeah. To us they're comic books, but they're actually there's worlds out there they're real. I like that, but
so yeah, I feel like
there's to be honest, most of the episodes are strong. I really like the Doctor. I didn't get the hype of the Doctor Strange one. Like everyone, I remember seeing the memes, and it was like episode 1 good, episode 2. So you've got Carter, and then the heist one, the Guardians one, and then Doctor Strange, and it was like and then it was like episode 3. Whoa! And it was like people were losing their minds, and I was like, no, it was brilliant. It was so good, but
I'd say except for the finale 2-part, I'd say that the Stephen Strange one was my favourite.
Oh really? No, I get that. I do get it, but I don't think it was the way it was treated. Like it was like miles above the other two. That
I see what you mean.
They were all pretty.
They were pretty
all
good.
3 of those ones are on a good level, like equality, just in different ways.
Yeah.
I did like that exploration of the Stephen Strange, though. That's good, and I would welcome a version of that Stephen Strange.
Well,
it's very interesting.
I mean, again, this is very YouTube fan theory video, but it could be that particular Stephen Strange in No Way Home. Keep calling it Far From Home, but we've already had one of those.
There's that shot of him where they all think everyone's speculating it's Mephisto or something, or
yeah, but I think it might be another universe's Stephen Strange.
Yeah. And if anyone could comfortably slot in and out, it's going to be him.
And it's of all of the when they release the titles or the premises of the individual episodes, I feel like the Doctor Strange one kind of didn't interest me as much. Like when you read it out.
Yeah.
But then it turns out to be a really good episode.
Really good one, yeah.
And then they do it really well, like they usually do. Marvel, they tie all of these individual aspects together to make the Guardians of the Multiverse. There's got to be a better name in there somewhere.
I know. I don't know why that was the way to go.
Multiversal Avengers.
Yeah, why Guardians as well? Yeah,
Avengers of the Multiverse would probably be more apt.
Avengers of the Multiverse.
But yeah, the 2-part end. I've seen so many memes that are of the format of Jesse Pinkman and Walter White from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Where Jesse is explaining something and Walter White is just like, what the fuck? And one of them was where Clint and Natasha are both cyborgs.
Love that theory.
And it does kind of make scientific sense too, because it's revealed that like the world ends due to like nuclear war, due to Ultron.
Multiple nuclear war. All of the nukes.
Yeah,
all the nukes. Yeah. All the nukes.
So, and then, that would mean that, human life would just not exist.
Yeah.
You just can't.
You can't.
And they go to Moscow.
And shit like that. And
which would be like one of the primary targets.
Yeah.
And, Clint's already got a cyborg arm.
We know he's got an arm. That comes off.
Yeah.
And goes back on far too comfortably.
Yeah. Well, to lead into the theory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But yeah, so that the Natasha that's actually in, and the universe that Ultron comes from, the Natasha and the Clint, they're both cyborgs. I mean, Clint dies in the way that Natasha dies in Endgame as a mirror.
That was a good callback. That was very good.
Yeah, and so that means that the Watcher sent a cyborg Natasha to another universe. I'm all on board for What If Season 2 exploring that.
I was about to say that it should have been cheesy, her getting her happy ending,
but it's not.
It wasn't, and I was like, yeah, this works. And it was a callback to one of the other episodes with the whole where it was because the one that ironically the one that wasn't included in the finale, like nothing from there carried over, did it?
That was the one where all the Avengers die.
Yeah, but there was no character that needed to be like Fury. They could have maybe put Fury and they didn't. So I forgot about it, and then when the thing drops and he's like they're all fighting, I'm like, how's everyone there? And it's like for a while, but they lost their Natasha. Because one of the main things I need them to do a season 2 to explore is why Fury knows
about the multiverse.
He's like, you're not my Natasha. And I'm like, okay,
I know
you know she died.
Yeah, but
why is your first thought she's not your Natasha? But I thought that was brilliant. Such a good scene coming on as well. Like they're all in the middle of a battle and stuff, and like. Yeah, that was so. You forget.
I just wish the finale was longer. That it could have been a little bit more fleshed out. But the villain of Ultron was like the villain of in Age of Ultron, but like dialed up to 1,000.
Yeah.
And so much so that I was kind of hoping that they'd leave it on not a cliffhanger, but like on a note where you could be like, well, he could enter any universe, so eventually he might enter our one,
But
Earth 1999.
they haven't. No, oh no, because it's not Ultron anymore. It's Zola now. So they have sort of. I was going to say they have done that.
It is Zola, and they are like in the finale they basically get trapped by Stephen Strange in a fucking realm of their own, where they're just frozen.
Yeah, and you can see
him and Killmonger
4,
who
5,
tries to take the stones.
Season 4, 5, or What If, you can see they're getting out.
Oh, they're getting out.
It's that kind of like, yeah.
Stephen Strange will let his guard down, and if it is the Stephen Strange from that universe, that I guess we'll call him Evil Strange at this point. He's not evil, but Dark Strange. Yeah, Dark-to Strange.
Amazing.
And he'll let his guard down.
You heard it here first, folks.
Dark-to
Strange.
If he lets his guard down and he's the one in this universe, he could unleash them on the MCU. But it was a fun ride. It didn't need to be more than what they eventually had it be. Do you know what I mean? Like they did have an overarching story, which leaves it open to the multiverse is still, I guess, in flux from everything that's happened in Loki so far, and then What If.
I noticed
everything's kind of falling apart.
In the notice credits, it says about explore these new worlds, which implies to me, I'm reading into that this What If and multiverse and Watcher doing this is sort of but from his perspective, a new thing, which plays into Loki and that of it, like. So they haven't.
Will the Watcher come into the live action part of the MCU at some point?
I need to see Haley. I need to see Captain Carter.
Yeah,
in person.
I feel like that's one thing that the reaction from What If is that they are clamoring for certain bits of it to come into the MCU. I feel like the one that they are most susceptible to probably doing is Captain Carter. At the end with the post-credit sequence for What If, where Steve Rogers is still alive inside the Ironmonger armor.
Yeah. So I've actually, before this season even came out, they announced that every series will have a Captain Carter episode.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So it's going to be.
I reckon they'll do 2. I reckon they'll have a Captain Carter episode, and because they left it on a cliffhanger, the zombie episode.
Yes, yeah, and to be honest, with Marvel zombies, there's a very big, strong, a very good arc. So yeah,
people love zombies. It makes sense just to have one episode a season for both of these.
There's good psyche to explore there as well. But yeah, and to be honest, I feel like we've not seen the last of Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. I feel like he'll probably make it into the MCU. What was the worst thing about it though?
Worst thing
about what?
Because we've just had like I said, I've got a lot of problems with the zombie episode. I thought that was quite weak. I liked and as I said, ironically, we've just said it's the one we want to see a bit more of. I liked the What If There Was No Avengers one, but I wasn't
I thought it was boring.
Yeah, it was a bit, okay.
They
undid them all a little bit.
There is so much potential that if they don't capitalise on something that's very interesting each week, I feel it is easy to just be like, it's a bit of a throwaway episode.
Yeah.
But then I think the best thing for me was the potential for some of this to come into the MCU, but if keeping it inside the actual series, either the last time we had Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, that and the threat of a Infinity Stone wielding Ultron.
Yeah, that was.
I feel like he was like.
Ultron has always been one of
full
my favorite.
Potential Ultron is a scary thought, because it's just like, well, he's ended the world and now he's. Ultron, I think it's even more so than Thanos, because Thanos actually only wanted to take away half the universe, where Ultron wants all life to go.
Because of he's still very much. I love this whole thing. He's so conscious and intelligent and able to do all these things, but he's just following a program,
Yeah.
and I love that. He's so simple.
Yeah.
He's a simpleton.
It's a simple idea that, like, with all of that power is just so deadly.
Yeah, to the point where he has to just follow it.
Yeah.
He can't ever like not. I love. Yeah, I do.
He is basically like a Terminator on steroids.
It's such a great, and I know it was voice acting, but it was such a great one for, I think, for Chadwick to go out on.
Mm.
It's awful that he had to, but it was. And I'm glad, because I know we got a taste of him in the zombie episode and stuff like that. That's fine, obviously, with that. But I'm glad the last we saw of him was Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Because Star-Lord T'Challa is possibly one of my favourite characters ever. I think he's such a great character. I love this idea of him, like, that he just literally is so charming and good that his superpower isn't being Black Panther. His superpower is he's just got a wordsmith. He's just such a negotiator that he can talk down even the most dangerous of beings and swing around for good. And then he spends the rest of his time stealing, literally Robin Hood. He's like Galaxy Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it's so fitting for his character. That's one where we say like the Cap wouldn't do that. That is, yeah, in a different, that's absolutely true to T'Challa. And the way, it's fantastic.
If we were going to give these four an overall score for how well you think you've done, how well you think they've done in producing Marvel, but for television, what would you give it?
Are we doing out of?
We're doing it out of. We're gonna do it out of. We're gonna do it out of 5 useless Infinity Stones.
So the overall for all of them as a collective.
As a collective, how do you feel like the Marvel shows have gone? How do you feel like their first soiree into doing TV format has gone?
I would say, comparing them to other TV shows, the deliverance of things, the introduction, the intrigue of it. I know they're their weak points and stuff like that, but as a collective, I'd say 4, solid 4.
Yeah, I'd say a solid 4 as well.
4.
I feel like
we can't have a collective as much as we do the everything. I feel like we also should do our order.
Yeah, I think that's probably better.
No, as well. So
okay,
I agree we should rate them as a collective as phase 1, but I do feel like so you go first.
So Marvel have done 4 out of 5 useless in the drawer paperweight Infinity Stones out of 5.
Yeah.
In their first kind of leap into doing this kind of format, and in terms of order, so
do fifth to first.
Well, it's 4.
Fourth to first.
So in fourth place is Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because it's got a few more failings in the motivations of characters, and deliverance, than I'd say any of the others.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say What If, because it's an intriguing premise, so like the good art style, and it's got like more comedy elements to it than the others, because it's less serious. Good voice acting by the majority of the actual actors. There's only a few exceptions, and you can understand why. And then I'm going to say WandaVision.
Yeah.
Again, a great premise. I mean, all of these, bar the Falcon Winter Soldier, are taking a bit of a twist, which works because these are comic book characters. Yeah. You do have a lot of room to play with.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go with WandaVision. Paul Bettany was great. Elizabeth Olsen takes the lead very well.
Very well.
It's surprising that she hasn't had her own film,
Yeah.
but then takes this top billing in stride.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Loki, because of just its overall impact in the story, so we're going to see next, as well as not treading the same ground, because that would have been easy for Loki, as a TV show to tread the same ground that we've had him in for a long time. They do it very early, where they turn him into quite a sympathetic character, but also someone who you still can't trust.
It's a risk, which was a risk, 100% a risk.
And then all the like Owen Wilson was great, and like Sylvie as a character is interesting. You want to see more of that, and again, I can't wait to see how she interacts with other characters. And then the overall villain or even he's not even a villain in the last episode. He's a version of himself, where his other variants are the villain, and he's keeping them at bay. But then Sylvie decides she would like free will, but also to absolutely Roger the timeline. And that's what's going to bring the multiverse, what it has already, into the MCU. So that's why I'd have Loki at the top.
So mine's very similar anyway. First two, just off the bat, all the same sort of reasons. Falcon Winter Soldier fourth, What If fifth, third. Very, very similar reasons for that. They were like, it's not to fault them, but it's just they were. If you had said the weaker, they were the ones with the most kind of faults of it. There were episodes where I'm a bit like, But my top two do swap. I would say Loki second. Again, agree with you on most points of that. So I love it. I love this. Just as you were talking just then as well. The reason I'm up for more Loki as well is because I want to see more variants of Loki, and I'm happy. And I like just the potential of maybe what actors you can bring in, and that sort of thing. I feel it'd be really cool. Like maybe like Fassbender, or just some really obscure Tom Hiddleston-esque kind of that sort of thing, but even now Sylvie kind of so I like that. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, absolutely nails everything. Characters are great, but WandaVision takes the top for me, and it's a fine line, but it takes the top for me purely because I can't think of anything else like it. That I love this idea that there can't be a season 2. They can't. It just wouldn't. It was saying it not even wouldn't work. It can't be. You make a Wanda TV series, that's fine. Make Vision, White Vision, or without Dark Avengers, whatever you want to do. It's not going to be WandaVision, and there's nothing else like it. It's very much its own category, and I respect that so much. And it was just so, as I said, it's the compelling. I've never been so compelled by a TV show. So yeah, for me, it's WandaVision at the top for me.
We are the Watchers. We are the Watchers in this particular multiverse. I mean, we're the ones who are watching these TV series,
and these movies.
Yeah. So join us in pondering the question: are these any good?